where were we? Oh, yes. Dr. Dr. Steve G. Jones, and Joe is going to be working with him as well, and he is going to pioneer, and we kind of just sort of stumbled on this term in the Facebook presentation we did to publicize this. Let me see if I can get it right the first time. Hooponopono?
That sounds good to me.
Is that it?
I like it.
So I think everybody's filtering back in now. So, Dr. Jones, please.
Today, I will be teaching you how to do self-hypnosis. So this will be a tool that you can use after you leave here so you can do self-hypnosis on yourself for whatever you want to work on. People have been asking me about different things, weight loss and other things. How can I use this to improve my life? Well, I'm going to teach you now during this talk how to do hypnosis. So we'll do a session for hooponopono, of course, but you'll also have a technology that you can use so that you can create your own hypnosis recordings. So let's talk a little bit about why I am uniquely qualified to help you today. Some of you may know who I am, some of you may not, so I'm going to share that information with you. I've been practicing hypnosis for a long time, since the 1980s. The first time I did it was in high school. I was one of those kids in high school who, my parents sent me to military school and I wasn't really into it. So I got a book on hypnosis called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by Leslie LaCrone, a PhD psychologist. Started practicing hypnosis in military school. So all these years later, it's the same thing I was doing in military school, because the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently. The athletes wanted to exercise more efficiently. So now smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers. But aside from that, I'm still doing the same thing I was doing as a kid in military school, just helping people. So I've created over, you guys who know me probably know all this, but just for those who don't, just so you know you're in good hands, I've created somewhere around 9,000 hypnosis audios. In fact, we're filling out the paperwork now for the Guinness Book of World Records, believe it or not, for the most amount of audios. Yeah, so I stay, do I? Yes, yeah, well, It sounds good, doesn't it? They'll put anything in the Guinness Book now. You do the most of anything, they'll put you in there. So I've written over 22 books on hypnosis. I've created over 20 different certification programs, Ericksonian hypnosis, past life regression, regular hypnosis. I've also created a lot of programs with Joe. We created the Wealth Trigger 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've created a lot of things together, and I'm very happy to be here today sharing a lot of that knowledge with you. So does hypnosis work is the question that you may be wondering if you're new to hypnosis or if you've never experienced hypnosis. You may be wondering if it's real and if it works. How many people are a little skeptical about hypnosis, or nobody at all? Okay, well, that's good. Either you're too shy to raise your hand or you're not skeptical at all about hypnosis. But let me reassure you that hypnosis has been around for a long time. Dentists were using it back in like 1850. They were, putting people into a trance before extracting a tooth. You can actually put someone into hypnosis and have them not feel any pain. Don't try that at home. You want to make sure you're working with a trained hypnotherapist, but procedures have been done with people feeling no pain just because of suggestions they received. So the medical field, aside from dentistry, got interested in it in about 1950, and they started using it for the same thing and lots of other things. So we see it being used in weight loss, and we see clinical trials. So my education is, I have a doctorate in education. I've studied psychology and education itself, since I teach mostly now. But I can tell you that the literature, the scientific literature, shows clearly that hypnosis does work. And it's not just that we wish it worked. We have a lot of studies done by universities that show that hypnosis works for a lot of things. So we're dealing with a technology that works. I myself have had the privilege of experiencing hypnosis working at a very big level. I was able to work with when I had my office in Beverly Hills. Obviously, being there, you get to work with a lot of cool people, or at least people who think they're cool, and got to work with a lot of celebrities, and it was wonderful. One of the wonderful celebrities I worked with was Tom Mankiewicz, who wrote Superman the movie, and he had smoked for 30 years. I was able to help him quit stopping with hypnosis. So that's how powerful it is. That's not about me being powerful, it's about hypnosis being powerful. It's a technology that I'm going to share with you today. In the most recent Olympics, there were 4 gold medalists who were using my hypnosis recordings. And again, I'm not saying that to brag about me, but those are the examples that I know about. People are using this. Tiger Woods, in fact, his father took him to a hypnotherapist when he was young. So we see a lot of very successful people using this tool to achieve wonderful things. So this is the type of technology you're going to learn. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know. I was a shy kid. You know, as a kid, I was very reserved. I was very shy. In t-ball, you know, where you put the ball on the thing and you hit it. My position was outfield. Well, no one in t-ball hits the ball that far. There's nothing going on in outfield. So that's where they put me. I was really not engaged with life or with any of the activities I was supposed to be doing. I was just an average student. Even in high school, I was an average student. It wasn't until college that I really picked it up because I knew that I had to. That, you know, you don't pick it up in college, you leave college. In high school, they'll work with you. So, so I started getting with it. And I found something I liked. That's why I majored in psychology and later on in education because I teach so much. My father, unfortunately, good guy, but he was an alcoholic. My mother died when I was 6 years old. She died of leukemia. So I had it pretty rough. Now that kind of story you're going to find is very similar with a lot of people who become healers. Take, for example, Joe's story about being homeless and having some challenges. We see the hero's journey leading people to work harder and do more. And because they know how to push through almost anything, they know how to teach you how to do that. So that's not an uncommon story, but that's my story. When I got into military school, I got into hypnosis. And really, I don't think that if I hadn't gotten into hypnosis in military school, if I hadn't started hypnotizing my roommates in Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Georgia, I don't think I would have even gone to college because there would have been nothing in it for me. But I knew the closest thing college could offer was psychology, so that's why I went into that. Plus, my dad always preached college. He said, you won't do anything without a college degree, so I did that for him also. But today I'm going to help you incorporate hooponopono into your life using hypnosis. So we're going to start out with a little bit of an academic understanding of hypnosis. So I'm going to use the whiteboard here to explain what you're going to experience and to teach that to you so you can use it beyond just today. So what we're going to start with is the induction. All right, so the induction is where I'm going to induce the hypnotic state. I'm going to put you into hypnosis. And the way I'm going to do that is by having you imagine yourself in a very peaceful setting. This is a very peaceful setting, but I'll use a peaceful setting. Normally, our default is the beach. We have people imagine themselves walking along the beach because it's very relaxing. Anyone not like the beach here? Okay, now's your chance to get out if you don't. So I'll have you imagine yourself walking along the beach. And the reason for that is that gets you into the hypnotic state. I'm involving all of your senses. I'm involving sight, sound, smell, anything else that I can involve. The kinesthetic sense of walking, I'm going to involve that. So that's what the induction is. And the induction will be probably today. They can come in different shapes and sizes, but for our purposes today, we're going to do it about 5 or 10 minutes, about 5 or 10 minutes of that, of the induction, where I'm just having you imagine yourself walking along a beach or whatever I choose, probably the beach. And then after that, I'm going to do the deepening. The deepening. The deepening is where we take the work that we've done in the induction and we intensify it. So if I have you walk along the beach in the induction, during the deepening, I'll probably have the sun set, and I'll count from 10 to 1. So if you're creating your own hypnosis recording to program yourself for whatever you want to do, keep that in mind. The induction, which I'll give you an example of in a moment, the induction is going to be about 10 minutes long. The deepening, you want maybe 2 to 5 minutes, just describing the sun setting if you're on a beach, for example. Or if you're in the woods, you can describe going down a hill. And the idea with the deepening is that we're correlating three things: downward motion, for example, the sun setting; downward relaxation, so you're relaxing more deeply; and downward counting. So I'm counting as the sun sets lower and lower. 10, the sun begins to set. 9, it sets a little deeper. 8, down, down. And as you do that, you're relaxing more into hypnosis. So that's the deepening, and I'll give you an example of that when we do it. After that, you'll be happy to know that we have a special guest for this part here, the script. Dr. Joe Vitale is going to come up on stage, and he's going to handle this. We talked about, what everyone wants to be programmed with. Joe, why don't you tell me what the highlights are that you want? We decided that the best way to do that would be just for Joe to come up and deliver that part. So at a certain point, after the induction and the deepening, the script, where all the programming happens, is going to be delivered by Joe. And that'll be however long Joe decides to do that, until he feels that he's gotten the information to your subconscious mind. Because you should think about this like surgery. The induction is kind of, if we're doing heart surgery, the induction might be the cut we would make. The deepening might be opening the cavity, but we still haven't done anything. We haven't rewired anything. We haven't done a bypass. So far we've just done hypnosis. The script is what makes it hypnotherapy. The script is where the programming happens, and that's what Joe is going to deliver for you. All the good, positive, powerful messages about what you're learning, that you're going to take it home, that you're going to use it. So when you're doing this yourself, if you use this technology yourself, what you're going to do is put whatever you want to work on. Do you want to work on weight loss or making more money or being a more effective speaker or being a more powerful person in your life or being whatever you want to be, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, overcome fear of flying, anything. That's where that goes. And so in the induction and deepening, we're kind of using somewhat flowery language or describing the sounds, the sights, the tastes. And the reason we're doing that is to involve you in that scenario. When the script happens, we don't need to do that anymore. We can go from speaking, maybe from speaking Italian to speaking German, if you will. We don't need to be flowery with our language. We just need to get down to business. So Joe's going to be here for the business part, where he's just programming. Because once we have access to your subconscious mind, once that's already open, we can just program it. Just like surgery, once it's open, the surgeon can just do what they need to do. And we're not doing any surgery today, in case you're wondering. All right. Then what normally happens is amnesia. Why would we want someone to forget all the good work we do? Why would we want someone to forget all of Joe Vitale's good work that he does today? By the way, we're not doing amnesia today because we don't want you to consciously forget it. Why would we do that? Anybody know? Drama? Is that what you said? Drama. So you're not traumatized by what Joe says? Any other guesses? That's a pretty good guess, but we'll look for another guess. Yeah, to scramble your conscious analysis and recollection of the subconscious programming. So if you think about it this way, here's your conscious mind, here's your subconscious mind, and here's a little dividing line. So this is your conscious mind, this is your subconscious mind. Joe's going to be programming your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind has something called the critical factor that analyzes everything. Oh, I know Dr. Joe Vitale said that I can be amazing and wonderful and use everything in hooponopono. I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do that. Or when you're creating your own recordings, you've told yourself, oh, I can do all this, I can lose weight, I can make more money, etc., but I don't know about that. That's your conscious mind and the critical factor. C can stand for a conscious mind or critical factor, analyzing it. You ever have a friend you run a good business idea by and they say, I don't know if it'll work because of this, this, and this. Well, that's your conscious mind, just looking for challenges with things. So the reason we use amnesia is to scramble this information. So your conscious mind relies on your subconscious mind for the information. It's going to feed it to it. So when your conscious mind gets that information, it has that critical viewpoint. I don't know about this, maybe, maybe not. So what we want to do is scramble your ability to remember that. I'm not going to do that today because I want you to remember the entire session because I'm also teaching you how to do it. So we're not going to do that. But when you record a hypnosis session, it's always good to add amnesia. And the way you add it is just A double bind is a good way. You can choose to forget to remember the words that I've said to you during this hypnosis session, or remember to forget the words that I've said during this hypnosis session. The choice is yours. So what choices did I actually give you there? Exactly, yes. It's a double bind. It's kind of like if you're setting an appointment with somebody. Would you like to come in Thursday at 3 o'clock or Friday at 2 o'clock? What choice do you have there? Do you have the choice of coming in or not coming in? No, you just have the choice of coming in. So it seems like a choice, but it's not really a choice. So that's what we normally do during amnesia. I'll say that again for you. You can either choose to forget to remember what I've said during this hypnosis session today, or remember to forget what I've said during this hypnosis session today. So you can put that in your recordings. Amnesia can be short, sweet, to the point, doesn't have to be very drawn out. And then the next thing is transtermination. Just abbreviate that with TT. Transtermination sounds awesome, but it's really just bringing you back out of hypnosis because you don't want to be in hypnosis the rest of the day. Or maybe you do, but we need this room for other things. So we're going to bring you out of hypnosis. The way I'm going to do it today is I'm going to count to 3 at the end. I'm going to count you up 1, 2, 3. You'll be out of hypnosis. Then you can ask any questions you have. The way you would do it when you're doing your own recording, and I suggest when you do your own recording, you do them like I do them, and you create them for nighttime use, you listen to them at night, you would use an alternate transtermination, which would be, now I'm going to drift off to sleep. And it doesn't matter if you say I or you in your own recording, whatever you prefer. Now I'm going to drift off to sleep, or now you are going to drift off to sleep, and you wake up in the morning refreshed. That way you can listen to the hypnosis session at night and allow it to put you to sleep. Another big question that comes up about hypnosis is, what if I fall asleep? How's that going to affect me? And the answer is, it's actually preferable, because this guy is out of the picture. The conscious mind, the critical factor, the one that's listening to every single word. Yeah, I'm going to make a bunch of money and lose a bunch of weight. I don't know about that. So that's that guy, and we want him out of the way, him or her out of the way. So if you do fall asleep while you're listening to hypnosis, or perhaps fall asleep today, that's actually fine. We want you to stay in your chair, though, but that's actually fine. And so when you make a recording for yourself, I recommend that type of transtermination where you say that you're going to sleep. That way you can listen to it as you're going to bed. That way you have no excuse to not listen to it, because you can play it as you go to sleep, and if you fall asleep, which you will if you talk in a monotone voice like I will do during the hypnosis session, you will fall asleep. So you don't have to, some people think they have to really try really hard to be in hypnosis and pay attention. That's really the opposite of what Joe and I want today. And anytime you're listening to hypnosis, we want you to just let go and relax. There's no, I'm trying to be in the perfect state of hypnosis. I don't know if I am right now. That's you working against it, actually. That's you consciously thinking, what can I do to enhance this? And so you let that go, and you just allow it to enter your mind. All right, so that's the induction, deepening script, amnesia, transtermination. Before we do that, does anyone have any questions about that? I think we'll have a little time afterwards too. Yes?
Just one question related to hooponopono. So how do we combine hypnosis and hooponopono? Because hypnosis is actually a programming, and hooponopono aims to uninstall any programming. So for example, if the one listens to hypnotic recording and the next day practicing hooponopono, what actually happens? So it's uninstalled or reinstalled? Or
So you want to use Ho'opono to do what?
to uninstall any kind of programming.
Okay, so that can go in the script. I want to, and Joe will handle all of this for you today. He'll be your pilot. He'll take over the controls at that point. But in your script, if you want to use Ho'oponopono, you would say, now I'm uninstalling all of those programs that I learned from when I was a kid that are leading me the wrong way. Yeah, when Joe talks about, being at 0 and stuff, we're not trying to wipe out everything you've ever learned or anything like that. Keep the good stuff. You've got some good stuff that you know. So, and Joe will handle that today. So he's going to be your pilot. He's got you covered. So yeah, we don't want to wipe out any good stuff. Any other questions before we start? Yep.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Brockett.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, in regards to hypnosis, is it something that you have to continue to use forever until you
Die.
Yeah, right. Until you.
It seems like that's what you're going to say.
So you install a script.
And if you don't do it forever, then no, you
Right.
don't. No. That's a great question. Thank you for that. And one thing that I teach people who use my recordings and people who I work with is I like to see people use hypnosis for 21 nights in a row. Because at that point, you're either going to get the change or you need to do something else, or you need to change up your script or the way you're doing things. So you do not it's not something you become dependent on for the rest of your life. That's not the way it's designed.
Great, thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. Yeah, we don't want people to become dependent on this where they have to use it. In fact, I want it to be a quick thing, kind of like an oil change, 21-day oil change, clean you out, then you're good to go. Every now and then you might need what I call a booster shot. So if you start slipping a little bit, I'm starting to do whatever again, then you can listen to it for maybe 3 nights in a row.